Your brain has no off switch. That's the blessing and the curse. It helps you survive, come up with cool ideas, remember where you left your car keys. Okay, maybe not that one, but it also replays that thing you said in 9th grade over and over, like it's your brain's favorite playlist. You think you're solving problems, but really, you're just trapped in a thought loop disguised as a strategy. It's called repetitive negative thinking, and it's a sneaky one. It tells you, if I just think a little more, I'll feel better. But the more you think, the less you live. Enter Vinland Saga. Thorfinn isn't just haunted by the past. He's stuck in it. Not a prison with bars, in a prison made of thoughts. He replays regrets, relives failures, searches for answers that don't exist, and it nearly destroys him. But eventually, he gets out, not by thinking harder, but by letting go, by doing the one thing most of us avoid. He takes action. Today you'll learn what repetitive negative thinking is, why your brain keeps tricking you into looping, and how Thorfinn shows us the way to escape, not through war, but through presence. So you think you're solving problems, but really, you're just chewing the same emotional gum over and over. This isn't focus. It's a thought loop in disguise. Psychologists call it repetitive negative thinking. Or, if you're not a fan of 5-syllable phrases, overthinking. It feels productive. It sounds smart, but it's really just your brain running laps with no finish line. According to researcher Susan Nolan Hoeksema, this kind of looping is common in anxiety and depression, and it comes in 2 main flavors: rumination, chewing on the past; worry, panicking about the future. That's exactly what we see in Vinland Saga, Season 1, Episode 24. Thorfinn loses Askeladd, and his body's free, but his mind is trapped. He clutches his face. He's silent, haunted. He replays every failure. If I had been stronger. If only I'd moved faster. You've probably done the same. Sent a risky text, then reread it 14 times like it's a Shakespearean tragedy. Imagined every way tomorrow's meeting could end in flames. But research says all that looping, it doesn't solve anything. It just drains you. Thinking feels like control, but most of the time, it's just fear in a lab coat. Overthinking loves to wear a cape. It tells you it's protecting you, keeping you prepared, saving the day. But really, it's just throwing you into a maze with no exit. Your brain says, if I can just think it through one more time, I'll feel better. But all it really does is dig a deeper pit. This is the illusion of control. You're not solving the problem. You're micromanaging your fear. In Vinland Saga, Thorfinn is a master of this trap. After Askeladd dies, he doesn't explode. He implodes. He replays the fight, rewinds every moment. He's not trying to heal. He's trying to control the past. But the past doesn't care. You've probably been there, replaying that awkward conversation, stressing over a decision you already made, Googling how to fix your life in 5 steps at 2 a.m. Here's the truth. Overthinking feels productive, but it's actually a form of emotional avoidance. A 2011 study from the Journal of Anxiety Disorders found that people who can't handle uncertainty are way more likely to get stuck in repetitive negative thinking. So the more you try to control everything, the less control you actually have. It's like trying to steer a ship by overthinking the ocean. You don't need to control the storm. You need to step out of the loop. There's a moment when overthinking stops being about a situation and starts being about you. You stop saying, I'm overthinking this, and start saying, I'm just an anxious person. I always mess things up. This is just who I am. That's not awareness. That's a mental trap. This is what experts call identity fusion. Your thoughts don't just visit. You hand them the keys and let them move in. Thorfinn lives this in Season 2. He's not fighting anymore, but he's not free either. He's stuck in guilt, stuck in silence, stuck in a belief that he's irredeemable. He doesn't just remember the past, he becomes it. Sound familiar? You overthink that awkward conversation, and suddenly you're starring in a one-person drama called This Is Why I'm a Failure. Psychologist Stephen Hayes calls this cognitive confusion, where you treat your thoughts like facts instead of noise. Take Brittany. She's a new mom, raised in a family where worry equals love. She overthinks everything: baby's nap time, feeding, life. And the more she worries, the more she believes she's a bad mom if she doesn't. But she's not broken. She's just living inside her RNT loop. Here's the move. You don't need to argue with your thoughts or run from them. You just need to see the pattern, because you're not your thoughts. You're the one who's watching them. Here's the twist that overthinkers hate. You can't think your way out of the loop. You have to move your way out. Your brain says, wait until you're ready, but ready never comes, because overthinking kills momentum. That's why Thorfinn's real transformation doesn't start with some epic speech. It starts with farming. Yep, our rage-fueled Viking king goes full Animal Crossing. He chops wood, hauls water, repeats the same routine every day. No dramatic arc, no grand revelation, just consistent, grounded action. Psychologists call this behavioral activation. You change your feelings by changing your actions, not the other way around. Research from Jacobson, 1996, shows this method works even better than insight therapy for depression. Real-life example, you keep saying, I'll go to the gym when I feel motivated, but motivation doesn't come, because confidence is built by motion, not waiting. You don't cure a panic spiral by giving yourself a TED Talk in the mirror. Here's what you do. Set a 2-minute timer. Do one small thing that moves you forward. Don't ask if it's perfect. Just move. Identity isn't found in your thoughts. It's built in your actions. Just like Thorfinn. He didn't heal by thinking. He healed by doing. Quietly. Consistently. One step at a time. Overthinking is fast, but real clarity, it moves like a monk in molasses. The mind spins a mile a minute, but the present moment just sits there, quiet, unbothered, judging you a little. This is where you learn to slow down on purpose. In Vinland Saga Season 2, Thorfinn isn't swinging swords anymore. He's not reacting, he's reflecting. He pauses before he speaks. He breathes before he moves. That's not weakness, that's emotional mastery. Not causing harm requires staying awake. And staying awake means slowing down enough to notice. Pima Kudrone. That's what mindfulness actually means. Not sitting on a cushion trying to levitate. Just learning to pause long enough to notice the loop. You get a stressful message. Instead of reacting like you're being hunted by a bear, you breathe. You anchor yourself. You watch the emotion rise, then pass. Here's a trick. Picture your thoughts like a spinning bicycle wheel. When anxiety hits, the wheel moves too fast to even see the spokes. Now, imagine it slowing. Click, click, until you see each thought clearly. Reset toolkit. Touch something cold. Take 3 slow breaths. Name what you see, hear, feel. These sensory anchors interrupt the loop without needing a single motivational quote tattooed on your soul. Thorfinn became a true warrior not by reacting faster, but by choosing to pause. You can too. If your overthinking had a face, what would it look like? Because here's a secret. You don't have to be the voice in your head. You can talk back to it. It's called externalization. You take that mental loop and give it a name, a vibe, a villain arc. That's what Vinland Saga does with Askeladd. Even after he's gone, Thorfinn still hears him, still talks to him. Askeladd becomes the voice of his guilt, his past, his mental loop. But here's the twist. Thorfinn stops obeying it. In real life, one friend named her overthinking voice Minigram, after her worry-prone grandmother. Every time she'd spiral, she'd say, "Oh great, Minigram's back, probably hiding in my spice rack." And suddenly, the shame, gone. She wasn't broken, she just had a repeat visitor who loved catastrophes. Here's your move. Give your inner overthinker a name. Mine, Captain Catastrophe. Wears a trench coat, thinks everything's on fire. Shows up the moment I try to relax. And now, instead of spiraling, I just say, "Not now, Captain. I'm doing the dishes." You're not silencing your thoughts, you're disarming them. Because when you name the loop, you separate yourself from it. And once it's separate, you don't have to listen to it. You don't win overthinking by arguing with it. You win by walking away. Most people think they have to solve every thought, dissect it, fix it, outsmart it. But you don't need to fight your thoughts. You just need to unhook. Thorfinn learns this the hard way. He doesn't erase his past. He doesn't conquer his thoughts. He just stops wrestling them. He lets go of vengeance, stops asking questions with no answers, and starts living anyway. Let's say your brain starts spiraling. What if they're mad at me? What if I fail? What if this ruins everything? You could spend 3 hours thinking, or you could unhook in 30 seconds. Here's the move. 1. Label it, there's the loop again. 2. Breathe. 3. Move your body. Even just doing the dishes or touching something cold resets the system. Picture your anxious thought like a dog begging for snacks. If you argue with it, it stays. If you ignore it, it eventually walks away. Unless it's a Labrador, then you're screwed. Thorfinn never got closure, but he got motion. He built peace, not by thinking his way out, but by moving through. You don't need perfect clarity or closure or certainty. You just need to take the next step. Next time your brain starts chewing on an old memory or a future disaster, tell yourself, don't trust the thought, trust the step, then do that.